Welcome, everyone, to our introductory episode of Saving the World podcast. This is an interesting kind of throwback a little bit to give you guys an overall overview of where we've come over the last year and a half. And really just give you a chance to learn everything about what Saving the World together is all about. What we've learned working together with me and Martin and many other volunteers that have helped us, and exactly what our goals are. So this is going to be hopefully the most watched video we've had yet. Hopefully we can get it out there. So thank you for watching.
Don't jinx it.
Don't jinx it. Thank you for being here. Please watch it to the end. I'm really excited to be sharing this with you. Really excited to still be here after a year and a half and to be continuing to share good ideas and talk about them every week. So thank you. That being said, let's jump right in. What is savingtheworldtogether.org and the Saving the World podcast all about? That's the question we're here to answer. So I'll jump in first. I started about a year and a half. I'm Luke Macmichael, a IT professional, computer engineer, Queen's University in Canada, Ontario. And I started this just looking for ways to get involved and make the world a little better. We all know that the world has lots of challenges and lots of problems that we need to fix if we want to have a better world to live in and have a world at all to leave to our children the way things are going. So it's very important, and it's always been important to me for 20 years to be involved in something. And I've been trying, searching for someone for years that could kind of help me figure out what I can do. About a year and a half, I finally came across that person, and he's right across me here, Martin Rezny. So thank you, Martin, for kind of inspiring me to start this movement or this website. And basically, I found Martin with his Worlds of Tomorrow Medium articles and Medium website, where I just read a lot of his articles, thought they were very well written, very much in line with what I was thinking as how to make the world of tomorrow a better place. So that's kind of where it started. And then I had a book that I'd written about 3 or 4 years ago called The 4 Pillars of Utopia. And I've been working on it again for 10 to 20 years of ideas. The 4 pillars were basically pollution, poverty, purpose, and progress, and how they all tie together to kind of give people ways to control the pollution so that we can eliminate poverty and find new purpose and still manage the technological progress of all of it together. All 4 pillars to make a utopian ideal or better world, let's just say. So that's where it started. And I wrote this book, shared it with Martin. He helped me edit it. And it's on the website now for anyone who wants to see the original book. Please go and look and feel free to comment on it. It's fairly old now, but it's still got a lot of interesting ideas. And that's kind of where we started.
But that means that we did a lot of progress.
We've made a lot of progress.
Meeting one of the pillars.
That's exactly it. And the whole idea with the book is that I would try to rewrite it almost every year. Based on everything we learned, and have a new version and a new version. That didn't happen right away. We're still on to that point, but hopefully we'll get to the point where we take off and a new version of some kind does come out every year. And there's enough momentum that we're completely releasing a brand new book every year that highlights everything that our Saving the World Together movement is trying to achieve. So that's, again, where it started. And we've come a long way in the last year. So the 4 pillars have kind of ballooned into 5 pillars now. We added one based on truth, the Truthworks pillar. And the other 4 pillars have definitely merged, and we've added a lot to them and a lot of ideas. And we've changed the word utopia to protopia, which is a very key change and something I hope you all go and look up. If you haven't heard the word protopia used by me or someone else before, it's a very cool word. And it basically just means progressing towards utopia, or progressing towards a better world, because we know utopia means no place. We're never going to be there. There's no such thing as the perfect world. And it always kind of bothers me when people kind of harp on that. We all know that. We're just trying to make the world better. And we're trying to aim for paradise, aim for utopia. But we know we're always going to continue to move towards it. The joy is in the journey. We're one step at a time making the world better. So that's, I think, really good, and it's a good word to use.
But also, to make one thing clear, making the world better is making it better, so it's better. So it's not really just the journey that, like, oh, we were trying, but nothing happened. It's just like, and as we're trying and journeying and progressing, then stuff is actually getting better, which is the important part. So it's also important, I think, to say this project is not supposed to be about some sort of like think tank theorizing about stuff and then like to raise money and do nothing, as like some of the initiatives that may appear to be trying to achieve similar goals may have happened to do in the past. Like what's important to us is actually trying to figure out something that's actually of use to someone. And that's why in the specific pillars, maybe we won't be able to invent something very important in every single area that we try to cover in our framework as important, but we're going to try to at least focus in some of the areas where we can contribute. But of course, that's the part where we would like to reach out to others and involve other people, because the more people are involved in the initiative, the more things we can work on and effectively actually achieve.
Yes, absolutely. So back for a second to just the pillars of protopia. And this is where we've kind of evolved from the 4 pillars of utopia to just pillars of protopia. We have 5 right now, but there might be more, and we're going to continue to add. So I like the word, just the pillars of protopia is going to be kind of our new theme, or our new book moving forward, Pillars of Protopia. So I just wanted to highlight all of them briefly for you. You can read a lot more about them on the website, savingtheworldtogether.org. But just to start, the first one's still the same. We've got to control pollution. This is something that's got to be a worldwide effort. The best example we have ever of it being done was the Montreal Protocol back in 1980, I believe, where the whole world came together to stop polluting the ozone layer, to control all the CFCs from the refrigerants and all the other chemical processes that were destroying our ozone layer. Every country in the world got together. It was clear, this is bad. Let's make a law to stop using these things, and it worked. It was one of the greatest successes for environmental, cooperation ever. We also had other successes with like the ocean agreements to clean up the ocean. There's worldwide agreements in place to not pollute that everybody has to abide by. There's many small
with lead
things.
Removal.
Sorry, say that again?
Which is another big one, was getting rid of lead.
Getting rid of lead, yeah. So there's several huge successes for controlling pollution. And really, so that's the first pillar, is finding a way to kind of manage all worldwide pollution, particularly emissions, air pollution of various kinds that are causing climate change and or toxins in the atmosphere, breathing issues, asthma, all these just cancer and cancerous-like things that are destroying our environment one piece of pollution at a time. So we definitely need some kind of worldwide cooperation built on all the past ones that we've been successful with. And the World Pollution Control Board, the Global Pollution Control Board, is one of our proposed solutions for this. Some kind of worldwide UN-based organization. We've got some basic points on how it might work. We're going to continue to expand them. But that's the first pillar of any kind of better world, is to keep the environment safe, control pollution. Second pillar, I'll just go through them very briefly. Again, I wanted to highlight them, is poverty, as well as peace, as well as everything related to those 2 things. I like using P's, but you don't have to. Nella's essay, if you haven't read that yet, please check that out. It was all about, if you can't have any of these things, we can't save the world unless we have peace. Because if you have tyrants trying to kill people or conquer countries, all the other progress you might make kind of gets washed away. And World War III sets us all back, a million years essentially, wipes out humanity, and we go back to caveman times and beyond, or go completely extinct. So we definitely need peace. Peace is definitely a major part of this pillar. And the best way to have peace is to not have poverty, because people, when they're poor or destitute or starving, they're going to have to go to war to try to not starve, or they might resort to terrorism, or they might resort to other things. So this is really about just trying to have peace, poverty, even just freedom in some ways too. Just the freedom to kind of live life. And that's really what the Pillar 2 is all about, is giving people the opportunity. The best way to implement that, we've found in the last year and a half, is some form of global bank or global institution that takes money, possibly from pollution, possibly from land taxes or other types of consumption taxes of some kind, and then distributes that money worldwide to everybody as some kind of a universal basic dividend. which is that person's individual right to pollute a certain amount or to use a certain amount of water or land or whatever, that he has a right as a human on Earth. We're sharing this spaceship. He has a right to a certain amount of prosperity. And that's really what this pillar is all about, is trying to give everybody at least a bare minimum chance at succeeding in life, getting out of poverty, being educated, and getting food and whatever they need to just live a decent life. So that's pillar 2. Anything to add there, Martin?
No, I think you've covered this one pretty well. Just our specific version or current version of the bank that's a solution should be called something like Global Public Interest Bank. So it's the emphasis on public interest. And of course, we will try to continuously develop all explanations or materials in depth on our website. So over time, it should just be explained more and more in the specifics, because like I said, our goal is actually to develop something that may end up being used to help. It's not just, oh, poverty is bad. Like, yeah, of course, everybody knows poverty is bad and peace is good. Yeah, most people would agree peace is good. It's just like, it's not really about just proclamations. Like, we're really trying to develop solutions.
Absolutely. And all 5 of these organizations, it's all about generating interest, generating potential funding, potential people. At some point, if there's enough, even dozens or hundreds of people interested in a given task, and we can raise a certain amount of money, we can start corporations, under our Saving the World Together umbrella, to start official corporations that could become the Global Public Interest Bank, start our own bank, start our own cryptocurrency, to start implementing these strategies. And that's kind of our long-term goal, is to just get people involved so that we can actually implement these things. So that's, again, pillar 2. Please look about it. Please join. Please let us know if you're interested. We already have a few potential partners in the works. Jeff Grobert from the AFIRS organizations, and one to name, and also the Creative Society is one that potentially could build into something, but I'm still kind of waiting to see how that develops. But they definitely want a worldwide UBI of $10,000 a month is what they're aiming for, but I'd be happy with $1,000 a month. Start with something small and build our way up as we get more prosperous. But however it works, let's make it happen. Let's work together as a global group of people from all over the world. I'm from Canada, Martin's from Czech Republic, and we'll do it together.
So for example, like regardless of where you're from, if you're interested in, I don't know, making a crypto, but your thought about the existing cryptos was like, what if somebody did a crypto but wasn't greedy and did it to actually help and use the potential of the technology? Then like you would be exactly the kind of person that we would love to talk to or have to participate in one of these programs, because it's really about, I think a lot of these things can totally be done and just haven't really been done for reasons that have something to do with human nature, something to do with systemic pressures. But generally, there's a lot that really can be done. And designing a cryptocurrency that's supposed to accomplish something constructive in the world, that's one of the things that I believe can be done and hasn't really been done.
Absolutely. And that's definitely one of our main goals. And probably the most important goal of our whole effort is to somehow fix the world's economic system to kind of prioritize people and prioritize, the environment and prioritize purpose. And, all the pillars of protopia are basically working together to kind of make life better for people and fix the economy to make life better for people.
So what's the next pillar?
Yep. So the third pillar, this one's all about purpose. Again, it ties back to everything. All the pillars give us purpose, but the third one specifically, purpose. And our solution for that is something called the Alternative World Education System. And what this does is it just inspires people, it educates people to find a purpose and to learn more about the world, learn more about all these different other pillars or all these different other jobs that might be out there to make the world a better place. And we want to make it free for everyone worldwide. We want to, again, integrate with all the other online learning platforms that are out there. Khan Academy is one kind of big example that's doing very well right now. But we'd just love to see education kind of more universal, that people can learn whatever they need to learn to do whatever they want to do with their lives and find that purpose.
If I may, to the brief pitch of like what's the gist of our, again, specific ideas that we're trying to specifically develop. What if, imagine that world education would be an MMORPG? Like just using the potential of like you would connect people globally with the idea that you don't just have like a centralized, linear, standardized path of what somebody tells you have to learn and pass a test. But what we intend to try to create, or at least develop a way how to create, is it lies in the interconnectedness, or connecting the various available modes of learning in a way that allows a person to navigate it in a way that they are able to fully develop their potential. Is the general idea that we have so far of it. Of course, we will work on the specifics.
Yeah. This is, again, a very exciting thing that we can start anytime. There's really no barrier to entry to making more education available and sharing it with people. So it's just a matter of kind of organizing our website, linking all the other partners that want to help us in this endeavor to make education simpler, easier, and more fun, more like a game. So some neat ideas there. I'm pretty excited, and there's many other organizations, again, already doing this. We're just trying to kind of expand it and say, yes, this is extremely important for a better world. We need to focus on education, and we need to make it easier and better and more integrated worldwide for everybody. So that's pillar 3. It's kind of all-encompassing. It also includes any kind of intentional communities or any kind of group. Even religions, to some extent, can give people great purpose in life. And we're not either pro or against religion in any real shape or form. We're kind of just open to all ideas. So anything that gives you purpose and happiness in life, we are 100% for. And any organization that can kind of make that better, where you're not taking away other people's freedoms or hurting or abusing other people or enslaving other people. That's the one gotcha, right?
Yeah, that's just what I said. Like, one caveat, like what kind of thing that we're against is extremism.
Yeah.
So that, I guess, falls under purpose. So unless your purpose is like super extreme and violent and destructive, then we're probably on board with it. It's just
it's
not the most extreme ideas.
Yeah, it's definitely an important caveat to mention, because there are many kind of groups out there that on the surface appear great and wonderful, but underneath they could have, either terrorist intentions or they're just so negative and so, what's the word when you divide the two sides? Polarizing. They're so polarizing. Polarizing. I mean, politically, specifically, like where you have super extreme right, extreme left. They're so angry and mad with each other, they can't have a conversation without wanting to rip each other's throats out. And that kind of polarizing, argumentative, non-constructive debate, let's just say, we're kind of against. Anything that's
yeah. Also, so just to be super clear, other things that we're super not interested in include like cults and Ponzi schemes and generally criminal endeavors.
Fraud.
So it's like I'm just saying it just in case, but it should be obvious. But
it should be obvious.
Yeah, we're not interested in starting like another cult or whatever. It's really not an ego thing at all.
No, and it's good, important to mention that, because a lot of people will look at this and say, "Oh, it's just another Ponzi scheme, or it's just another cult." And we know we've studied about a lot of those. A lot of those things have been very successful. Unfortunately, in the last 20, 30, 40 years, we've seen a lot of cults come and go. We've seen a lot of Ponzi schemes come and go. But I think hopefully in 2023, we've all learned enough to be able to recognize it and give it a litmus test. Is this a cult? Is this a Ponzi scheme? And avoid those things. So definitely education helps that.
I think you're already starting to describe the 5th pillar.
Yes, yeah, we're moving towards that, Truthworks. So the third one is education. And the more education you have, the better you're able to understand all the pillars, how they work together, and how to avoid negative things like cults or abusive or fraudulent organizations or anything like that. Scams. Stay away from scams. Scams are bad. 4th pillar, progress. And this is all about trying to find ways, and we had one about ChatGPT just last week. If you saw that podcast, we talked about AI and how it's changing the world, and how even my son, there's people in his class that are getting entire essays written by ChatGPT now, and there's no, like, the teachers can't tell the difference. It's like students can just kind of breeze through their courses by getting ChatGPT to do things for them. So it's kind of insane, but at the same time, there's some great things that can come from that. So we have a whole video about that. Check that out if you're interested more. But the 4th pillar is all about managing this kind of in an effective way, so that as AI kind of starts to do more of our jobs, people aren't left behind, and that people still have a purpose. They still have a basic income of some kind, or they still have some kind of way to live. They're not completely out of luck when they lose their job to a robot, because it's going to happen to a significant number of people over time, and those jobs may not be replaced unless we plan as a society to figure out a way to do it. So that's really what the fourth pillar is about, is managing technological progress, figuring out a way to transition to a post-scarcity society, and there's many ways to do that. Go ahead, Martin.
Yeah, just to be also specific, that's our current idea. Because this pillar is about futurism, it is the most likely one to adapt and change to whatever it is that is the technological challenge. Like right now, it does appear to be robots taking our jobs, maybe. But if you think about like current developments, maybe in the future, it's more of an issue of how like that might be actually limited, and we would need it more than we think. And so it's possible that sort of this particular challenge could be flipped on its head, and it would be about, okay, so the real challenge is to figure out how to automate more stuff because we need it, because we don't have enough people maybe. So it could be changed, or it could be about just the general idea. The general idea is to develop some sort of body or organization that's focused on trying to anticipate technology causing problems in the future in whichever area or way. Could be genetic engineering, could be information theory, could be anything, and try to help make the civilization more anti-fragile, more prepared for eventualities, and more resilient.
Absolutely. And the interesting point here, of all the 5 pillars, this is the one that's probably the closest to already being done. And the Future of Humanity Institute, futureofhumanity.org, is probably the closest thing to any of the pillars we've mentioned. It's very, very close to what we're trying to. So we're just kind of adding to that idea. I'm hoping to merge with them someday, if I can ever get them to return my calls. But maybe, soon they'll be able to. But that was started by Elon Musk. Some of these other, I think, Mark Tegberg. I can't remember his name. I'm sorry, Max.
Mark.
His name's Mark. Anyway, he's done a great job. Thank you so much for putting the Future of Humanity together. They're definitely educating people. They've got billions of dollars of kind of funding and interest in making a future world safe from AI. OpenAI is part of it as well. Elon Musk and ChatGPT, they're all kind of part of this Future of Humanity Institute. But it's extremely important, and that's why
both as a both as a part of a problem or a solution. I guess this remains to be seen.
Yeah. So the only reason it's part of our pillars is because it's definitely an important part of any mix, and I definitely had to have it there. It's a great spot to talk about it. It's a great spot to think about how to avoid Skynet, how to avoid Terminator, how to avoid apocalypse, existential risks of any kind, Armageddon, whether it's from a meteorite or economic collapse or climate change. They all fit into this 4th pillar.
Before we were interrupted by my computer crashing, I just wanted to add to the 4th pillar that if somebody manages to develop a solution to one of these problems that are core or central to one of the pillars, then we're of course fine with it. Our goal is not to own any solution really, or own all of the solutions. In that case, what would just happen is that we will focus our efforts into the remaining areas that haven't been solved yet. So the reason for why the pillars are there in our theory is basically it's a model of the things that need to be taken care of for the world to have the highest possible chance of functioning in the future, and not just functioning, but probably also improving over time in terms of the quality of life of all of the residents of planet Earth. So that's, again, we're not necessarily, we're open to cooperating with really anybody, helping anybody else accomplish one of these goals. If we develop any ideas, they're definitely to be considered open source. Anybody can use any of our ideas and solutions and try to implement them themselves. We see that as a positive, a good thing to happen, not a problem.
Absolutely. Yeah, neither one of us is in this to make money, really. We're just in this to spread joy and spread harmony and spread potential prosperity for everyone. And it's a fun thing. I've really loved doing it. I love being a part of it. We're just looking for 2 or 3 other people that want to be a part of it with us, and then 2 or 3 more, and then 2 or 3 more, until we can double every year. And in 30 years, we have the whole world population trying to make the world better, working together, right? That's the end goal. But
the math checks out. Yeah.
Math checks out. It's only 30 doubles. That's it. Double every year. So I started myself, a year ago. Now there's 2. We need 4 next year.
But again, no Ponzi schemes.
No Ponzi schemes.
It's not a Ponzi scheme.
We're not here to make money. We're here to make the world better. We're here to save the world together. So it's great. So again, please thank you if you've watched this far. Thank you so much. It's great. Let's keep on moving on. So the fifth and final pillar, again, was really important to kind of hold together all the other four. And it's really about truth. It's really about making sure that all the other pillars we're sharing with you, all the ideas and companies we implement through this are founded in actual facts and truth and good, good clean policies, good clean knowledge that aren't culty, that aren't scammy, that aren't fake news of any kind, that this is actual real truth. So Martin, I'm going to let you kind of give your elevator pitch on the Truthworks, because it's probably one of the most important of all of them to make people believe what we're saying about the rest of the pillars.
Yeah, so my specialization, to I guess introduce myself a little bit also, my specialization in terms of my education is partially media and communication studies and partially political science. So adding this pillar, I think, may have been my influence on the project, which is why we sort of abandoned the whole idea it must be 4 pillars quite early. And eventually, even maybe doesn't even necessarily have to be just 5 pillars. So if somebody else has a conversation with us and convinces us that there's something else that really needs solving, then we can add that as another pillar. But that's already also part of what the problem is within this pillar, like what the thing to solve is. And that's it's really important to know what's actually happening in the world. It's really important to know what the people in the world, the various political actors, are probably actually up to. It's very important for people to understand what the scientific method is and how it works and how it should be applied. And so you may have noticed, like, some of our videos could cover things like the Skinwalker Ranch, something that might be considered paranormal. Part of it, I think, is actually important to discuss, and even scientists do it to a large degree in terms of futurism, like the 4th pillar, you're trying to future-proof your civilization. You have to discuss even things that haven't been established yet to be a fact, like aliens may be visiting planet Earth. Like, of course, there are people who believe it has already happened. There are people, some scientists, who believe it's super unlikely to a point that it will never happen, probably. But it's a kind of thing that you still need to talk about. And it's especially in these areas where you need to have some sort of very good protocol of determining what kind of argument makes sense and what kind of argument is nonsense or misleading. Because, of course, if something has already been established as a scientific fact, very solidly with a lot of evidence, then, yeah, that's really not much discussion left there. Like, unfortunately, of course, our world got into a bit of a crazy point where there will be people who would be even, like, politically campaigning against very firmly established scientific facts. So that's not good. And one of the things that we would try to somehow address with the Truthworks, but even in a more saner world, like, okay, let's, like, when you fix the extreme problem, like, then still you always have this issue of that sometimes even the scientific establishment isn't communicating in a very great way about what science is and what facts are, and then gets things wrong. And because they didn't explain what science is, probably, and that it's okay if they're wrong sometimes, because science is supposed to evolve and get better over time. If they presented it too authoritatively, like what we're saying is facts, then when normal people who aren't dumb see it, then what they can get out of that is that, oh, so the scientists are also making stuff up. And then a miscommunication has happened. It's one of the things that the Truthworks, as we're trying to develop, it should be a system that should help people to have a better understanding of these things, or like what even science is in the first place, but also when people are communicating, to give them some tools to be able to tell what is the likelihood, because it's not black, like the reality is not extremely black and white, like something is 100% definitely a perfect fact and something is 100% definitely a lie. That's also not a realistic portrayal of how things work. So to have a system where maybe it would be a website where people could go and could find that, like, they have an issue, like they're not sure about some claim or they're not sure about some theory or idea. So there would be a page dedicated to definitely to all the biggest ones first. But then ideally over time to most everything, like something like Wikipedia. It's like Wikipedia is actually a part of what should be done, but I think that's another platform that also has some issues based on how it's made, that sometimes it also can get political and manipulated by various editors to say things that are also not entirely accurate. So and still trying to present things as either definitely facts or definitely false, which is not realistic. So it will be more like you go to a page, you see the idea that you wanted to check out, and then it will be some experts, like we call them for now truth seekers. It's the whole Truthworks is a code name of a project. It's operational, may change in the future. What's important is that there will be, we try to develop a system how to train and certify and perhaps employ in the future people who would work as a special kind of reviewer, which would specialize in different disciplines that relate to the truth. Could be fact-checking is a part of it, but also doing things beyond fact-checking. There's a thing, for instance, it's based on scientific theory actually called a truth wizard. So it should be possible for people to even be able to be trained to have some idea if like whether the person is being honest or misleading just by reading the way in which they're communicating, not necessarily by fact checking the content. So there could be a rating of like in terms of like the burden of proof, like actually being proven, like this is the percentage of like how solid this thing is or isn't. Then there could be an estimate of the speaker who was saying it, like this kind of speaker, this is their whole body of communications. And if you look at it, if you analyze it like it's like by a communication expert, analyze like how that person is communicating, then you can give a rating to that person of like how often was he proven to lie or she was proven to lie, or but even if they weren't, like are they showing any signs of being misleading? Again, it's not 0% or 100%. It could be it's like, yeah, this person is like most of the time fine, but has some bias in these areas. So it's like this is the kind of thing you would be able to get informed on. So those are just the initial ideas. Then you, of course, you can try to involve AI and algorithms to variously aggregate or disaggregate news feeds. Like one of the things, I think it's called ground news, maybe. There are some attempts already that are trying to disaggregate news, meaning that you will set your preferences and or it will show like how you want to, not just that preferences in terms of like to confirm my bias, but preferences in like I want, for instance, you could say I want take like all of the news from the internet about the topic, and I want to sort it by some parameters. And the parameters could be like, show me actually even spread of the ideological spectrum on this one. And then you see one extreme, like what the most left people are saying about it. You see what the most right-wing people are saying about it. You're seeing what the most neutral people are saying about it. And then you know better, you're better informed. You have a better idea of what the range of the discussion is. And you can get also some sort of comments or analyses of like what may be wrong with the most left perspective or what may be wrong with the most right perspective, again, by the truth seekers, by the various people who are trained and employed to do that. And that's just a question of scale. Like how many people would be doing this sort of profession would then result in like how much you can actually make sense of the communications on the internet. So that's our idea already.
Yeah, and the grand goal is to kind of merge this organization into some form of global group of truth seekers and truth wizards and truth workers. That is their kind of job. And in some ways, it might eventually replace the judicial system in some form, worldwide. And that's their job to find truth and be arbiters of truth. And just like a judge is in charge of finding truth in a specific case. Only they would be kind of judges of information, of what's true and false, fake news wise worldwide.
One way, that's a nice thing that you specifically worded it this way, because one of the ways how to train a person, you might be wondering, like, because even if you say truth, like people will say truth is relative, and maybe this starting to sound a little bit culty. Like it's not that we're saying that I know what the truth is about everything and my word is the authority. That's definitely 100% not what this is. But also the way to train a person, if you're wondering how to do that, one of the ways how to train a person to be able to assess communications objectively and neutrally is debate training, or specifically debate adjudicator certification. That's a thing that already exists. And I think just way too few people have that today in the world. Like you can definitely make that even as part of, because these also projects interact sometimes. You can, as part of the alternate world education, you can try to put more emphasis on people learning rhetoric, but specifically learning the sort of critical analysis of arguments. And that by itself is a skill that helps individual people, but also you can have trained debate adjudicators who effectively, oftentimes, those are people who get a law degree anyway. because that's very close to what lawyers and judges do.
It goes back to one of the videos that we made, I think almost a year ago now, one of our most popular original ones, making debating cool again. And I really had fun just that whole concept. If we can just get people to debate the pillars of protopia in some way and have some kind of essay contest or debating contest, that would be so much fun. I would just love that, to watch whether it's kids or adults or anybody, just debate these ideas and do it in reasonable,
because
logical ways.
Of course, we do have an essay contest, a sort of annual essay contest already. And what we were thinking about is that if you were interested in debating us on some of these topics, that's one of the things we definitely are interested in doing on this channel. To do a debate on a topic that has something to do with helping make the world a better place, which is very broad. So anything from futurism or from economics or law is pretty much open to debate. So that's what we are definitely interested in. Or even to host a debate for various people among you, if it's multiple different viewers who want to debate about stuff. So we could do that. I personally am an experienced certified judge of debates. So we could definitely host that, and I could maybe try to judge the debate, but also if there's any other debating judge who's watching this, then definitely you could, maybe me and Luke could have a debate and you could adjudicate us. It's all these things are possible, and we're very much looking forward to trying.
Absolutely. And I would love to sponsor a debate. If anyone can debate Martin and kind of beat him, I would love to see that, because I have a tough time beating Martin in debates. He's done a lot more. I get him thinking every once in a while about new concepts, which is good. But we agree on so much anyway. It's hard for us to really debate without him just convincing me that he's right. But I like it. And
so that's an important point. Specifically, if whatever we say in any of our videos, if you disagree with it, we're very much looking to getting feedback, even if it's especially if it's a critical feedback. Of course, there's a way to criticize that's just, negative and mean and that's not constructive. We don't mean that. But if you really think we're wrong, objectively, factually, especially, because of course, in the spirit of the Truthworks initiative, we don't want to be misinforming anyone. So if we, for instance, made a video about the Skinwalker Ranch example, it's a TV show about a place that has a specific history and some people are trying to do science there. So very controversial, hugely controversial. So if you're a skeptical person and you think that anything that we said in that particular video is definitely wrong, then again, we will give you space on our own channel to tell us in our face that we are wrong. So 100%. Awesome. And we can also, doesn't have to be a debate if you don't want to specifically do the competition thing. It could be an interview. We're also very much open to interviewing people. You don't have to already be a famous person, a hugely successful person. You just if you think you have something interesting to say about any of the topics that have something to do with the saving of the world. Again, 100% open. Just reach out to either me or Luke, and we can definitely make that happen.
Yeah. So that brings us full circle. Those are the 5 pillars of protopia as they stand right now. Thanks so much for staying with us to the very end. Share this with your friends. Talk about it with anyone at all. The more word of mouth feedback we get, YouTube's been a little mean to us with their algorithms. Even just saying YouTube's been mean to us has probably made YouTube not want to link this. But either way, word of mouth is the key. Please share this with as many people as you can. We need as much feedback as possible.
Think of this as an exclusive video. You have just reached an exclusive video that we've made almost just for you, and you've beaten the algorithm. Another way to think about it, you're winning. You're basically winning a lottery, and the universe, the universe has decided that you, among the very few, are supposed to see this message. At least initially, hopefully, we hope that eventually, in time, we sort of get the thing going even on the social media a little bit. Yeah. But you can really think of that as it's actually really special that you've managed to find this and watch it till the end.
Absolutely. Again, thanks so much. This has been a real ride for me personally, and I love doing it. I imagine we'll keep doing it for a long, long period, and no matter what happens, as long as we're having fun doing it. So we'll share as many ideas as we can. Please take them, implement them, make your lives better, make the world better. I think that's it for our intro. Please, again, share, like, subscribe, check out the website, savingtheworldtogether.org. Do you have any final comments you'd like to throw out there, Martin, before we close?
I think you forgot to say comment. Also, if you have a comment, then comment.
Like, comment,
that's just
subscribe.
me being a stickler.
Thanks so much. Again, thank you for your time and any comments you make. Trying to think if there's any catchy phrase I can sign off with, but my general phrase from many other videos, I'll continue it right here. Let's save the world together. Thanks so much, and we'll see you again soon, hopefully. Bye-bye, everybody.